Ginny, school?
School days were such happy days. Now they seem so far away. School days.
Yeah, school days might be far away for many of us, certainly some of us in the studio, but not all of us. And a number of people will be heading to school for the first day of a brand new academic year. We are taking advantage of that to look at the education system here in all its glory. And you can't speak education here without speaking of one of the oldest, if not the oldest, learning establishment here in the UAE. Founded back in 1961, the Indian High School is the first and longest standing Indian education institution in the Gulf. It has, of course, now become a 3-campus group of schools. And to tell us a little bit more about the new year, plus, of course, the history therein. An absolute pleasure to welcome into the studio the CEO of the Indian High Group of Schools here in Dubai, Punit Vasu, who joins us live in studio. Punit, thanks so much indeed for being with us.
Tom, thank you so much for having me.
Listen, IHS, Indian High School, is just one of those iconic names and brand that is synonymous with education here in the region and has been for so long, but also one with one of the most accessible structures when it comes to getting into education. Latest numbers I have, and correct me if I'm wrong, and the tuition ranging from, £5,500 or thereabouts for grade 5 up to £10,500 or thereabouts for grade 12. In this competitive landscape, with tuition fees, with fees structures elevating and going through the roof all the time around you, how do you maintain these standards for these fees?
Well, interesting question, right, Tom? So it goes back to our legacy. We're a 64-year-old institution. We are set up as a non-for-profit group of schools. We have a pro bono board of governors. And again, staying true to the ethos of being non-for-profit, it's extremely important that we provide high-quality, accessible, affordable education to the Indian diaspora. So it's been an interesting journey. And I think it culminated during COVID, because that's when we realized that non-for-profit doesn't mean not being able to generate a surplus. So that's the journey that we took. And we run the school pretty much almost in 3 sections. What we do before the school starts, during the school, and after school. So it's a very interesting way that we operate.
It's fascinating that you mentioned COVID there, because I mentioned, since 1961, those seeds were sown. And of course, the school and the group has grown and grown since then, as has its culture, as has everything it stands for as well. And again, is this a conversation? Does the conversation become more difficult between you and your board, you and your senior executives every year, given the fact that rents are going up, given the fact that competition is so much higher, being able to maintain and stay strict to those values? Does that become more difficult?
So actually, we have a very supportive board of governors, and we have developed our own acronym of fees. Where the F stands for fees, E stands for efficiency, E stands for economies of scale, and S stands for servitude and expansion. E stands for expansion as well. So I think that's the kind of conversation that we have every year with our trustees, our board of governors, in looking at alternative sources of income. And like I said, if you actually look at a school, before school, during school, and after school, for example, if you look at the clubs that take place before a school actually opens its doors, if you look at a school day, when you look at the normal fees, the ancillary income, it could be auditorium, it could be your sports facilities, it could be canteen, it could be books, it could be uniforms, and again after schools. We have understood that schools and school buildings per se are an extremely underutilized asset. And how do you leverage that asset? So we take great pride in actually not having increased our fees for 7 years running. The KHTA, Tom, permits us to increase our fees beyond the educational cost index. So this year the ECI was 2.35, and we could have increased it beyond, and yet our group of schools chose once again for the 7th year running not to increase fees.
When it comes to fees, but equally, I don't want to, I don't, on the first day of the term, I don't want to get bogged down in all things fees, but I know it's something that you get asked about all the time. But How important is the T word, transparency, when it comes to fees? Not just fees as well, but transparency across the whole of your sort of educational ethos.
Yes, absolutely, right. And that's the key. I mean, in the quest to D33 and E33, the vision that His Highness has set in terms of building a knowledge economy, in terms of building a learner-centric system, in terms of supporting the economic growth. Dubai is talking about doubling its population, doubling the economy, and obviously talent and workforce development is going to be critical. And that's where we rock up to the party. We show up. And unless you have transparent measures in place, and could be transparency in terms of your cost structure, transparency in terms of your performance appraisal, transparency in actually being able to help other schools who are in a similar situation. Given that we have 3 campuses, we got 13,000 learners, 1,650 staff, almost 50,000 parents. I mean, we got some serious economics that we can, serious clout. And then I think that's something which we are willing to leverage for other schools as well. And that's something that is an open offer that we have put on the table for a regulator, the KHDA and the CDA. And if there are other schools that need help and advice in terms of how we actually manage our numbers, then we are more than happy to be absolutely transparent and open with them, because we are non-for-profit. Right? We do generate a surplus. We do reinvest in infrastructure, in our people, in our students, in our learners, right? And that's what learning should be all about, helping others succeed as well.
But also leading from the front. You've been pioneers, as I mentioned, in terms of setting up, but also pioneers when it comes to some of the challenges here. School transport, we know, is a big one. You've dealt with that by running your own school transport service. That's unusual. Why?
Yeah, again, it helps, right? Because learning begins as soon as a child sets foot into the bus.
Yeah.
And again, if you want to keep education affordable, then we realize quickly that you got to provide high quality transport as well. And you have some operators who may not be focusing as much on quality as we would like to, especially the small individual private operators. So we felt we should take it upon ourselves to actually provide a safe service, again, something which is affordable. And it also helps with the traffic. So we got almost 200 buses, our own fleet. In order to keep it efficient, Tom, this is the business breakfast, and we have outsourced our maintenance to a world-class third-party operator who actually deals in German cars and buses. And that's something that has worked very, very well for us. We are a world-class fleet of buses. We're constantly upgrading. And we intend to work very closely with the RTA to actually expand our fleet.
Extraordinary. Listen, I've got 30 seconds left with you. I know you've got to get back to school
Absolutely,
as well
yeah.
very shortly, but the new academic year is upon us. Looking forward to it. Any innovations?
Absolutely. So the Indian schools actually start in April.
Yep.
And this is actually our second term. We have a 200 million dirham expansion plan that we are part of. And yeah, Dubai is growing, we are growing, and we're happy to be part of this wonderful city-state.
It's been synonymous, as I mentioned, since 1961, continues through 2025, and I'm sure for many, many, many years to come. Absolute pleasure to have you join us live in the studio. All the best with the rest of the academic year. Punit Vasu is the CEO of the Indian High Group of Schools right here in Dubai. Thanks for joining us.